Well guys, welcome back to our Essentials to Muzzleloading video series. And in this particular segment, I'm going to touch base on caliber choices that we have in the market today. And you know, we've talked about modern advancements that we've had in manufacturing our muzzleloaders, from side hammers up to these amazing break open muzzleloaders that we have here in front of me. But there's one piece of the puzzle that really at the end of the day is going to make your hunt a success or not a success, and that is the projectile. And here you have three different choices, three different calibers of our Powerbelt ELR series. And these are color coded, so no matter what the grain weight is, you can very quickly see by these packaging here when they're hanging on the shelf. The 50 caliber, which is the one to the left and by far the most common muzzleloader caliber on the market today. The 50 calibers are black polymer, the 45s are blue polymer, and then here to the far right, the orange ones are 40 caliber. And the modern advancements, number one is the design of the projectile, and obviously they're long and sleek compared to the big lead bullets that everybody used to shoot in the 50 and 54 calibers back in the day. So a really amazing design of these projectiles. And one thing that we get to talk about today, that if you're a reloader in the centerfire world, you talk about BCs, or ballistic coefficient of a projectile. And we've never done that before in the muzzleloading world until the ELR series from Powerbelt actually hit the market. As you can see, these bullets are long and sleek, and when you talk about ballistic coefficient, basically in layman's terms, that means basically how that projectile will cut its way through the wind very sleek. In comparison, we talk about like a Volkswagen, it's kind of a square-bodied vehicle, and a Lamborghini is low to the ground and cuts through the wind much better, just like a NASCAR race car would. And these bullets are basically designed that way. They cut through the wind much faster, flatter, and gives you more long-range trajectory of muzzleloaders today. But the most common one out there today is a 50 caliber, and this ELR projectile here in particular is a 330 grain projectile, but we also make that there in a 270 and a new one in a 250 caliber. So that covers pretty much every gamut of species that you want to hunt, from whitetail all the way up to moose and elk for big game stuff. But modern advancements that we've talked about quite a bit, we're working our way to the 45 caliber, and this one in particular is a 285 grain projectile, and the first one that we actually ever talked about with a high ballistic coefficient, which is very impressive to talk about that in the muzzleloading world. This one in particular is a 285 grain bullet, and we're also going to make other bullet weights in this guy here also as we continue pushing forward with this 45 caliber line. But one thing to think about also, depending on which state you live in or which tag you drew across the country, before I start talking about the 40 caliber, I want to make sure that you check the rules and regulations for your state and that state that you plan on traveling to here this fall for those tags that you drew possibly out west, to make sure that you check caliber or gauge restrictions to where you're going. In particular, like Colorado, for hunting big game or bear in Colorado, you can't use a 45 caliber, you have to use all 50 caliber, and also open sights in Colorado. So make sure that you check those local rules and regulations where you plan to spend time at this fall. But working our way down the line to the last but definitely not least, and the longest, highest BC bullet we've ever built in our lineup is the 40 caliber. And this 40 caliber here in particular is a 225 grain projectile, but we're also going to make a 265 grain projectile in that here come out in the very near future, because the 40 caliber stuff is definitely taking off because it is long range muzzleloading at its finest. But again, the most popular caliber on the market is a 50 caliber, but the 45 is very much taking hold because the modern advancements in the projectiles that we make in this 285 grain ELR, and the 40 cal is a newer one to the scene. But again, please make sure you check those local rules and regulations for the state that you're going to go to. But if you're looking at anything in a Powerbelt series, the ELRs in the 50, 45, and 40, you can go to our website, which is CVA.com, and pick up any of these calibers, any of these weights that you prefer to utilize this fall.